Keith here from North 40 Fly Shop. If you do any still water fishing, one of the flies you should have in your box is going to be a damsel fly nymph. And there's a lot of good ones out on the market right now. But being a fly tyer, I wanted to come up with something of my own. And I'm kind of partial to balanced flies, leeches, and that kind of stuff. So I based this fly around a balanced presentation. When I started tying this fly, it took me about 4 times, and that's how the name came up, which was quad, meaning 4, and then the D is damsel, and of course it's balanced. One of the things that I wanted to do was just make it as simple as I possibly could without putting a lot of effort into it so I could whip these out a lot faster. And this is what I came up with. Works really good. It's a little flashy in some spots, and that's kind of what I wanted to give a presentation for. So let's get started with this in just a second. So here we go. That's what we got there. So let's get started on this. So the hook we're going to be using is a NU 90-degree jig hook in a size 10. And the thread we're going to use is 70 denier UTC and just an olive. So we'll get that started up here. Lay a thread base down and go all the way back. And we'll bring that all the way back up. And then the next thing is going to be a 1/8 tungsten bead, gold, and we've got it on a gold sequence pin. I think this is a 1/2-inch pin, that's all we need. So we're going to tie this in to balance it. So we want to do about a bead length gap there. Get that in there like that. Get that tied in nice and tight. And then we're going to take our thread all the way to the back. And if you wanted to, you could add some super glue there to kind of give it a little more strength. We don't need that right now. So for the tail and part of the body, or for the tail and the body, we're going to use strung marabou in the golden olive. So we're going to pick out the right plume here. And we're going to use that for the tail. So, yeah, we'll get rid of the junk there at the bottom. And for the tail, we don't need much. And so we're going to do just about a total fly length, I guess you could call it, from the bead to the bend of the hook. So we're going to tie that in right about there. And you want to keep that marabou on top if at all possible. It'll just kind of fill in some gaps between the pin and the bend of the hook. And I'm going to bend that back a little bit just to kind of even that out. Trim that off. And then for ribbing, we're going to use ultra wire, the UTC ultra wire in small silver. Again, we're going to just kind of tie that in on my side. Way. Alright, now for the body. You want to do is take the longest plume, or I guess the plume that's got the longest barbels, the side part here, and we're going to use about that much. Not going to use a lot. And then we're going to tie these in by the tip, so we want to make sure that we got them all pulled up. I guess I could have cut those tips off a little bit before I started tying. There we go. Now we're going to advance your thread forward. And we're going to bring it up to about there, which is about a bead length behind the 90-degree bend of the hook. You can use a pair of hackle pliers, is what I like to use, but I'm using the hook and hackle pliers. It just holds it a little better because I'm going to twist this up. So we'll get everything pulled forward, and I kind of like to brush the marabou out to make some of those fibers stand up. That placed in there just about like that. Now we're going to twist this. Just be careful not to over twist it because it'll break. And then we're going to wrap this forward. You want to do nice touching turns, because what you're going to do is you're going to get a kind of a tapered body up to where your thread is. Like I said, be careful not to pull too tight either, because it will break. And that's pretty close enough right there. There we go. Couple over. Couple in front, and then we're going to trim off our excess, and then just a couple more just to be careful. Now you're going to take your wire. One, it acts as your ribbing, and two, it'll give some strength to your marabou. So there's no really set number of turns, just whatever looks good spaced out. And you kind of work it in between some of those fibers. And sometimes she wants to twist on you a little bit there. Okay. A couple turns over, a couple in front, and just kind of twist your wire off. There we go. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build a dubbing loop. Alright, so we take our dubbing twister. Bring that right back to about there. Advance it forward. Alright. So, for the thorax and actually the legs, we're going to use some sinew fusion dub in the emerald color. And we're not going to use a lot because I don't want a lot in there. I want it sparsed out a little bit. So we're going to kind of line those up a little bit. And we're going to space that out, kind of pull it apart, make it sparse. And we'll give that thing a twist up. And then we'll brush that out. Okay. Now we're going to Just kind of wrap that forward, and we're going to kind of pull some of that material back. And if you didn't put enough on there, it's okay. You can do another loop and continue forward. Which it looks like I might have to do. Okay, no point in going too far. We'll get that tied off and do another quick little loop. Or you can split the thread for just adding this little bit, but that's alright. Alright. Grab a little more. You think as many times as I tied these, I would know exactly how much to put in there. That's the difference between tying them at home or tying them to use and tying on a video. And so you need to finish that off, snug it up in tight behind. Oops. There we go. And a couple extra wraps. And then we'll do a little whip finish there. Normally I'd use super glue, but I didn't bring any with me. So we'll just use a little hardest holes. That'll work just as fine. That's all you need. Alright, now we're just going to brush this out and get those fibers to kind of go out in both directions. Just like so, and then a little bit of cleanup. So what I usually do is I pull out some of the fibers, trim them off, get all the long ones off there. A lot of times, if you ever notice, damsel flies, a lot of times when they're swimming, they tuck their legs in so they don't really stay out to their side a lot, most of the time. Alright, that's it. So, let's see, a couple I missed. Alright, you can sit here and kind of trim. Just don't over trim. Anyways, that's pretty much what you got there. Like I said, you can run this without an indicator. You can just run it straight, cast out, retrieve back, run it on your indicator. Like a lot of times, a little bit of extra flash seems to have a lot of results. So anyways, tie a few of these up for your box next time you get to the lake and see what you get as your results. So until next time, we'll see you later.